Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series.
Adam, how are you? How is your breakfast, your donut, your iced Americano?
Oh my gosh, it's great. It's snowing out.
Oh, fun.
It's very pretty. It's like that very light
Yeah, that's the best kind of snow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something not a lot more fun is in this chapter.
Okay.
Comparatively more fun for us, but I wouldn't say this chapter is particularly cheery. So this week we read chapter 6 called The Noble and Most Ancient House of Black. Adam, what happens in this noble and most ancient chapter?
Harry cleans number 12 Grimmauld Place and learns about Sirius's family history.
Very well said. Yeah.
And we meet Kreacher.
And we meet Kreacher. Anyways, and Kreacher is introduced. Okay.
I'm going to say Kreacher's like part of the lore of the family history. That's
Okay.
what I'm including Kreacher.
Yes. No, that's true.
Yeah.
He's a part of the family, so sure.
Unfortunately.
I will accept that. Unfortunately.
I really forgot how much he sucks as a character. And I don't mean like her writing of him or whatever, but just like he just is like, could you imagine having that energy around?
No.
And you can't get rid of him.
I can't. That would suck. No wonder Sirius is like miserable.
Yes, I was trying to think of any way in which you could like have a better situation than what's currently happening. And I was like, well, you could like lock him in a cupboard. But then I was like, but that's also like psycho.
Yeah,
At that point, you might as well just murder him.
They could do what Petunia does to Harry, but he's a house elf, right? So can't he just like apparate out of the room if they tried to like lock him in a room and give him 3 meals a day?
He'll listen to Sirius's direct orders.
Yeah.
How long if Sirius was like, stay in your wherever he sleeps, stay in your room, I don't think he's gonna do it for the rest of his life. I think
yeah.
So the chapter starts and we just ended that with that dinner where Harry got to ask a bunch of questions and there was the fight between Sirius and Molly. Ms. Weasley is like, okay, go to bed. You can't talk about anything. You just have to go straight to sleep. Right to sleep.
No chit chat.
Girl.
Yeah, right.
So Ginny, we're all sure is just waiting for Hermione.
Literally,
just to be like, hi,
sitting on the edge of the bed.
How was dinner? Hello.
I am Ginny, but like I would be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
For sure.
So Fred and George go to bed. Ron and Harry go to bed. They're like about to start talking about what happened. The owls, by the way, are like,
by the way,
in their cages, like, I gotta get out. And Ron's like, yeah, we can't let the owls out because Dumbledore thinks it'll arouse suspicion.
Know. Yeah,
sure, but also like that sucks, right?
I know. The poor owls.
Send them to the owlery then.
Yeah, why? They don't need to be there. You guys like don't need any. Well, you weren't writing letters to Harry anyway.
Right. Hello. You have like 2 more weeks before you're back at Hogwarts. Like I feel like it's like the end of the summer. Like I feel like it's not that much longer. It's not like, no. At most it's probably 1 month.
Yeah.
No, it's less than that because his birthday's his birthday's already happened.
Yeah. They don't care. They don't care about the welfare of these owls, obviously.
There's a lot of things in this world that they do not care about
welfare.
The welfare.
What does that mean? They don't know.
I mean, well, let's just start with children.
Yeah, we can start with children.
So, they're about to start talking, and then Fred and George apparate into the dark bedroom, which is it's very funny. But they apparate in on Ron's knees, and they're like, "Sorry, it's hard to do in the dark."
Yeah, it's dark, so.
They're very funny in this book. They were like kind of talking about what happened, and Harry was like, I mean, we didn't really learn that much information. So Fred and George are like, but what about the thing that Sirius let slip?
What do you think it is?
So they're trying to figure out what the weapon is. We've already discussed this last week. It's not a weapon.
Boo.
Start there. It's not a weapon. Is there anything worse? This is the question is posed. Is there anything worse than the Avada Kedavra curse?
Crucio? The Dementor's kiss.
Yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
Avada Kedavra is at least more humane. Like Crucio, the Dementor's kiss is the first thing I thought of, though, actually, even before Crucio. But also, I don't know, depending on what you're imperiousing someone to do, that
Sure.
could be
That's rape.
even worse. Yeah, right.
I
So
hate
it's
to
like
like
that
say
could be
that,
even
but
worse.
like you
No,
could. Yeah.
but there's no consent, and also it's like essentially like get out. Like you're trapped in your mind while someone's making you do things you don't want to do. So
I'm also gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say Obliviate is also worse than Avada Kedavra.
oh yeah, right, yeah.
Because what are
Yeah,
we doing?
brain damage, essentially, yeah.
I guess Avada Kedavra is worse in the terms of like you're dead.
You're
Like there's
done
no
forever.
there's nothing coming back from that.
But I mean, that's like my therapist says in terms of like physical abuse, like she's like, physical abuse can sometimes be seen as better than emotional abuse because bruises can heal.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, where like mental abuse or like, yeah, something like a mental type of injury, that's like forever and it's much more difficult to heal from. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, if we're looking at it just in the sense of like Avada Kedavra, you're just done and you don't exist in this world anymore. Sure, I get what they're saying, but I am really surprised no one brought up the Dementor's kiss.
I wonder if the Dementor's kiss though, because it's so specific to the creature of the Dementor, that
They
maybe
wouldn't
they're
really
just
think
not
of it.
considering it because it's not something you can acquire.
Essentially, he's already got the Dementors over to his side, hasn't he? So like,
I know.
I don't know.
But while they're talking about this, they hear Molly come to listen to the door, so Fred and George leave, and then they're quiet.
Such a Molly thing to do too.
Such a Molly thing to do. She comes and listens to the door, then she goes upstairs to go listen to Fred and George's door. And like Ron makes a comment that I thought was like interesting that was included, where he's like, she just doesn't trust us. And I just thought that was interesting that like that's how they're perceiving Molly's care, I guess, or Molly's concern. We talked about this last week, but like just at that age where you just like think any adult is like doesn't get
Yeah.
your struggle.
Yeah, that's true.
So then while she's coming back down the stairs, so basically during this time Harry just falls asleep. Very vivid dream about people's heads turning into cannons and shooting at them, which I thought was a wild dream. And normally in this book series, Harry's dreams have like either been, I don't want to say prophetic, but they've been like at the very least the imagery has been something that like either happens later or has happened previously. There's something like connecting about it, and there's nothing in this dream that I was
No.
like, what is this? It was weird.
A fever dream. It's just like
It's a bit of a departure for Harry's dreams. So they wake up in the morning. I think it's Fred, wakes them up and is like, you have to get downstairs and eat breakfast because we're gonna clean the sitting room, I think it is
ugh.
today. I did want to note they use the verb breakfasted.
They breakfasted.
Yes, they breakfasted, which
Ah.
is not an American thing. It's so
No, I've
British.
never yeah.
We would say ate breakfast.
They breakfasted.
Things that more differences between the two cultures. So they go into the sitting room. They're going to clean out these doxies. What are doxies? Are they bugs? Are they big bugs?
What are the pixies? Essentially like the same thing is my guess. Little insects.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, do you see this? Let me send this to you.
I think hopefully I'm assuming we're looking at the same one.
With the ears?
yeah.
I'm gonna throw up. That is the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's like brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like brown, but also like there's a pattern on the
Right.
wings.
Right. Yeah.
Are these wings technically, I think?
I think they use their ears to fly, is my
Oh
guess.
my god.
Adam doesn't want
Horrible.
anything to do with them.
No. Ugh. So anyway, so they're going to clean the sitting room. There's this doxy infestation in the curtains.
Adam's worst nightmare.
God, I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, imagining like a ton of those is really scary.
It's very funny to me that in book 2, they say that Molly's always wanted a house elf, and here she is with a house elf in the house, and it's not cleaning.
She's literally like, what is the point? Yeah, you have one job.
She's rethinking everything she ever thought about house elves.
Yeah, she's having none of it.
So Sirius comes down to help, and there's like this forced polite conversation that he has with Molly, because they're both obviously still like
Annoyed with each other.
from the argument from yesterday. He has brought down a bag of dead rats, bloody dead rats, because he was feeding Buckbeak, who's just hanging out in a bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have the same.
I feel like at this point, we can let Buckbeak go. I feel like we can let Buckbeak go anywhere, to be honest.
But also, even if you don't let him go, just get him some chicken from the supermarket. What are you doing? Why is he eating rats? That's the best he can get. There are so many people coming and going to this house from the order. They can just get him some other food.
So the rats tell me that there was a rat infestation in this home, and
Oh,
they
they're
were just like,
using
we're just
them.
gonna use them to feed Buckbeak. Horrible, truly
Horrible, yeah,
disgusting.
yeah.
But I'm more like, why is he hanging out in a bedroom? This isn't
Yeah.
good. This is not good.
He does eventually go to Hagrid, but I don't know at what point that happens.
It hasn't happened soon enough, in my
No.
opinion. It hasn't happened soon enough.
Yeah, who cares?
Because do we know in the timeline when the Order started using number 12? Like, how long has Sirius been back? Is it just the end of book 4, probably?
That's what I'm guessing, yeah, just since Voldemort's return, essentially.
So there's at least been like 2 months that this fucking hippogriff has just been hanging out in a bedroom. In his mother's old bedroom, which has to be like cursed energy.
Yeah.
Dark-sided.
Dark-sided.
Do you think there's zoos?
I'm gonna guess that is definitely a no.
And honestly, they'd do some shit like they'd put a house elf in a zoo.
Yeah.
They would do some shit like that.
So, or goblins. So
Or
it's just like,
centaurs. They would fully put a centaur in a zoo. Yep, you're right. No, there should be no zoos in the Wizarding world, because we can't trust these people.
yeah, exactly.
It is so funny that reading this book series as a child, I wanted nothing more than to live in the Wizarding world, and like as an adult, I'm like, they are so ass backwards.
There's so much wrong.
There's so much that's wrong in this community. Anyway. Okay. So Kingsley Shacklebolt comes to give a report to Dumbledore, and Molly's like, please close the door.
Wait,
so we aren't
where is it?
disturbed."
Because Dumbledore's here?
So
I didn't
this
really
is what I
understand
didn't
that.
understand, because I didn't know if it was like I need to use a specific parchment in order to send him. I didn't know, or I didn't know if
I know. Yeah.
is there a teleportation device?
No. There's the portrait. There's the portrait in the house that is connected directly to a portrait in Dumbledore's office.
Oh,
That's what it is. Oh my god. Okay. I didn't even think of that until just now.
I don't remember which portrait it is, but
It's the one in Harry and Ron's room, weirdly enough.
oh, the empty one.
Yeah, I think that's a little too convenient, but whatever.
It's very convenient. And now we officially start taking care of the doxies. So I do like that. I like this little reference to Gilderoy Lockhart. She's using Gilderoy Lockhart's book for taking care of household pests. And it seems to work.
Well, it's not really him. He just stole it from someone else.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's right. He probably just stole the information from other people.
Yeah, all the information is good, which is why he had success, basically. Because they were like, well, his books, everything in the books is true. Yeah.
So they take care of the doxies. I also like the reference to Gilderoy Lockhart, because we have to remember that he's a character in this book series.
Yes, in this book it's very important.
And then it's never important again. So have to spray. Do they have spray bottles? Explain to me how the Wizarding World has spray bottles. Spray bottle seems very Muggle energy. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah. No, it
mean?
does. Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Maybe they
Something
have
about
like
it.
those old-fashioned like perfume bottles though. Like I could see them
Oh,
having those in
okay, okay, okay.
herbology.
Okay. That's good. I like that. Because I was fully like a Windex bottle.
Yeah,
And I
no,
was like,
yes. Just like
that's, yeah, plastic, full
yeah,
plastic.
plastic. Yeah.
No, I didn't like that. Okay, I like the glass, like with the
Yes, with the little cushion.
orb yeah, like cushion,
Yeah.
yeah. Orb.
Orb. Cushiony orb. I mean, well, I don't know what it's really called. I would just say cushion, but I don't even know what that's called. Beats me.
So they have to spray this black liquid into the doxy's face, basically, and it stuns them. And then, and also, I think they're big.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
think
how
they're
big
not.
they are.
I don't think they're huge. I don't think they're as big as pixies, like in the movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think they're like
Bigger than like a
horsefly
bug.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They have to spray this liquid in their face, and then they become immobilized, and then they just toss them into the bin. Fred and George are now saving doxies for their venom to do like they're saving they want to test doxy venom because they've come up with this thing. I didn't even write it down. It was like they're called skiving snack boxes.
Skiving snack boxes. Yes.
It seems like it's like a pill or it's like a tablet, a little thing. You eat half of it and then you like get sick so you can get out of class. That's ideally what it's used for. And then you eat the other half when you've been excused and then you're restored to full health. These are the greatest minds of the 20th century.
I'm telling you, it's just crazy that yeah. Yeah.
How
It's
is this a
crazy.
joke product? This is like something this is literally something that like
Spies would use.
Q would give James Bond
Yeah,
and be like,
yeah.
use this to get out of a whatever.
Yeah. How are the Aurors not like interested, like Kingsley and Tonks aren't like, "Hey, what do you got going on over there? Can I take a look?"
Because even better, if you are trying to like poison someone, I guess you could just poison people, but you could also just give them a little bit of half of the tab and then never give them the other tab. And then how long are they sick for? Forever? We don't know.
Till it goes out of their system, I'm guessing, since it's something they ate. Yeah.
Harry's delighted to hear this news because that means the 1,000 galleons he gave them wasn't in vain.
Harry, you don't get to have feelings about this. You gave them that money. Who cares? You don't get to be like, "Oh, well, I'm glad you're putting that to good use." Like, shut the fuck up.
I just think it's what I understand that okay, we're reading a book, it comes after the other book that happened in the other book, so she kind of has to remind us of like this happened in the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
book. But there's something about it that I was like, why does Harry because I do often read the narration I guess depending on how it's written, I read it as like Harry's inner monologue kind of or like
Yeah.
his thoughts or whatever. So
Right.
I in this passage I was like, oh, Harry's like, remember when I gave them 1,000 galleons? And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I
Who
know.
cares?
Yeah.
Also, someone died, Harry. Like
Also, Fred and George didn't ask you to give them. You, out of your own volition, were like, "I'm going to give this to you," and they were like, "Oh, no," at first, and you were like, "No, take it." So I just don't think you get any say. We don't need to be reminded that you gave it to them. It's okay.
So they're still planning on opening a joke shop, Fred and George. They don't have a commercial space. They don't have what we would call in the industry a brick and mortar. They are just running ads through the Daily Prophet, and they've been very lucky because Molly has stopped reading the Daily Prophet because of their treatment of Harry and Dumbledore. A little bit later, Mundungus shows up. And he's like,
Can I hide these?
can I hide these? Like, did you ever read the book? There's like a book from, I want to say like the 50s. And my mom had it as a kid, and it was always at my grandma's house, so I'd read it a lot. But it's like a kid's book. I think it's called Caps for Sale. It's so stupid. It's a man who is a hat. He appears to be selling berets. He has different color berets. He has red, blue, black and white, checkered
Oh. Oh
caps.
yeah, I've seen the cover of this.
And he wears them on his head and walks around with all these caps on his head to sell. And
Oh.
this reminded me of Mundungus with this like
Oh.
tower of cauldrons he's like carrying in like
That's funny. Yeah.
a la like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Like I just imagined him being like, oh, very broad comedy. And so Molly, who already doesn't like Mundungus Fletcher,
Yeah, correct.
he's like, can I store these stolen goods in this home?
I'm sorry, Adam, why did he think that was a good idea? Like, why was he in his head like, oh yeah, I'll be able to keep them there? This is where I am anti-Mundungus.
Where does Mundungus live? This is my question. Does he have a home?
I bet he like rents out a room at the Leaky Cauldron or something like that, right? Doesn't he seem like he'd be that type of guy?
Oh yeah, for sure. Transient.
So but I'm just like, why would you think? First off, Molly's essentially staying there, even though it is Sirius's house. So maybe he thinks because it's Sirius's house, he'll say yes to him. But I'm like, I don't even know if Sirius would say yes.
I don't know. I think, unfortunately, I do think Sirius is kind of tickled by Mundungus.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he kind of finds him
Yeah,
funny.
he is. Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately. Much to our chagrin.
Much to our chagrin. He does find Mundungus
We're
charming.
with Molly over here.
Yeah. So Molly, who has already just been like irritated since yesterday, is like, and now is my chance to scream at someone. And she's in the right, so she's like, and I feel vindicated in doing so.
Yeah.
So she yells at Mundungus, and meanwhile, meanwhile, Kreacher has entered the room.
Like the way he just like, the way they said he like slipped in.
Yeah, slipped in.
Like...
Stupid. Oh.
Dumb. Like the way that he like saunters into the room.
Right.
And then straight up acts like they can't hear him.
I think it's really funny, and I do like that even Harry is like, Harry didn't know whether or not to laugh.
Yeah. Well,
because I would be like,
this is what happens. Oh, there's mudbloods here and these stupid blood traitors, and they're just here in my house and oh. It's just like, it's just like you're walking past us. Like,
yes, master. You fucking piece of shit. I can't.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he is kind of a vibe in that regard, that it's like, but he's the bad. He's the wizards that he's loyal to are bad, so it's not great, but it's just funny that
and
he's
they've like
oh,
fully
yes,
brainwashed
master.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes in, he's mumbling to himself. He's basically like, the Weasleys are blood traitors. This whole house is infected with these people that he doesn't want there. That Sirius's mother, and I keep forgetting what her name is. What's her first name? Do you remember?
I don't remember either.
That Mrs. Black would be like having a conniption fit over, obviously. Her portrait's having a conniption. Imagine what the real woman would be like.
Yeah.
He says like, oh, and they have somebody new, and Hermione is like, and like, Hermione, you have to take the L on this one. He's not gonna. I don't think you have to treat him disrespectfully.
Yeah, just ignore him.
I just feel like this isn't the one you need to like defend.
No,
maybe that's just me. He's a bad person. And I agree that he was taught this, but also, like,
unfortunate, but
Dobby also lived in a dark magic pure blood house.
I had that thought too. Yeah.
So Hermione's like, "Oh, Kreacher, this is Harry Potter," and then he like is mad that she
talked to him.
I mean, he's not violent. he's just kind of
No.
like psycho. And then he like has the realization that it's Harry Potter, and is like, oh wow, he got rid of the Dark Lord or whatever, which obviously
I don't
this
care.
whole thing is so crazy. This whole thing is so crazy.
What, the whole Kreacher interaction?
Yeah. I like the idea of having this as like the last vestige of the House of Black is like this house elf that's like absolutely deranged and out of his mind, and they kind of can't get rid of him. I kind of think that's interesting as like a concept, but like Creature is so. I hate that he's wearing a loincloth. I have to say it
Unhinged.
again. He's
Yeah.
fully unhinged.
Boo
I
to the
hate.
loincloth.
I don't like his snout like nose. It's just not great. So then Sirius basically comes in and is like, "You can go," and he was like, "Oh no, okay, you're okay, master," but then is like, "You fucking ugly uh blood traitor piece of shit." My god.
Disappointment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're cleaning out the room and Creature has this bad habit of he's been trying to save things from being
Yeah.
like destroyed or thrown in the trash or whatever. And so Creature like lets it slip. This man, okay, creature this creature named Creature has lived in this house alone for 10 years. She died 10 years ago. So he's just been
Yeah.
like bebopping around this house talking to himself. So I think he doesn't know he's using his outside voice when
He
he's
he is a
he's
little
his inner
senile.
monologue. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there was like a thing where it says that her portrait has been telling him stuff to do for years.
Oh, yeah,
Which is
yeah.
like, that's also crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Creature lets it slip that he wants to save the tapestry on the wall. A tapestry that's been there the whole scene, this whole day, and this is now when we're gonna.
Yeah.
The tapestry. Sirius tells him to leave. Whatever. Okay, Creature's gone. Now let's talk about the tapestry. The tapestry is what I have to assume is like the size of the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
Takes up the whole
huge,
wall.
and it's literally a tapestry that details the family tree, the Black family tree.
Yeah.
How did we go this far into this scene without anyone being like, "This tapestry's nuts," right? No one turned around and looked at the wall and was like, "Are we seeing this?"
Are they they've definitely been in the same room this whole time,
I
right?
think so. I don't think they ever left the room.
I was like, is this a different room that we've come into somehow?
I just thought, I was like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?"
Was it covered up the curtains that the doxies were in? Maybe they were closed covering it.
Oh, I
But
assume they
she
were
doesn't
over
say
windows,
that.
but she doesn't say that. Maybe that's
So,
why.
but it's not like Sirius pull, right? Sirius doesn't pull back the curtains to reveal the tapestry or anything like that, right?
No, they pull the curtains back once the doxies are all clean because they're hanging limp now. Like there's no more infestation, so they're not like moving on their own from these horse flies. Let's talk about this
Yeah, this was actually
tapestry.
I was most interested in this part of the chapter, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just because I love getting a genealogy.
Begat.
Yeah. And come on, Ancestry.com.
23andMe. What we would call probably the family motto, or the like whatever the
Yeah, motto. Right. I would
motto,
say.
right?
Yeah.
Is toujours pure, which means always pure. So we're dealing with the best of the best here.
Yeah, trash. Ew.
And also, I love the idea that toujours pure for everyone that's on the tapestry and has not been burned out.
Yeah,
If they're burned out, they're not part of it anymore. They're
Not
not on the
pure.
tree. We see Sirius has been burned out.
Yeah.
He reveals that it's because at the tender age of 16, he ran away from home and he lived with James for a bit. And so his mom was so mad that she burned him out of the tapestry. And then he reveals that he has a younger brother named Regulus Black. who died about 15 years ago, and he was a Death Eater, and Harry is so shocked by this information. And you know what? Sirius's response to Harry being shocked is exactly what I would have said, which is like, do you think these people were like not Voldemort supporters? Like, what are you talking about, Harry?
Yeah.
Harry's like, you had family that were Death Eaters? Yeah, girl.
He's like,
Have you looked around?
"Hey, did you read Toujours Pure?"
Toujours pure. Stupid. So anyway, so Regulus Black did become a Death Eater, and then he got pretty far in. He wasn't like super high up in the Death Eaters, as far as we understand.
A
But
low-ranking
he was a
Death
low
Eater.
ranking Death Eater, but he was in the group enough that he was like, oh, I don't really like that they want me to, like, I don't know, murder people possibly. So um
I'm gonna dip out.
I'm gonna dip out. I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks notice, and I'm gonna say thank you so much, and
Yeah.
I'd love to use you as a reference for my next job interview. And Voldemort did not have that.
No,
You
not
can't really do
interested.
that. So he had Regulus killed.
What is this voice?
I don't know. So anyway, so Regulus died.
He had to have Regulus.
Had to have Regulus killed.
It's like somehow like Mid-Atlantic, but also like Valley Girl in one. Like
I contain multitudes.
the hybrid.
So then we see a few more characters on the tapestry. So we have Phineas Nigellus, who is Sirius's great-great-grandfather, who I think have heard about as already. He's in Dumbledore's office, isn't he?
And that's the portrait. It's the portrait of Phineas Nigellus that is in the
Ah,
house. That's the one. So
okay.
yeah.
He's the least popular headmaster Hogwarts ever had. I'd love to know why. I would have stopped
Go
there and been like,
off.
but why?
Probably because he was like a toujours pure.
Araminta Melliflua, a cousin of Sirius's mother. She tried to force through a ministry bill to make muggle hunting legal.
What?
There's a thing where it's like, it's one. Okay. It's still bad to be like, we think pure-blooded people are the only people who are like good. It's another thing to then be like,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
then we should
Actively.
exterminate anyone who isn't that. That's
Yeah.
where it's like,
That's a whole other layer.
you've already crossed the line, and now
Yeah.
you're running. You're running
Yeah.
further away from the line.
Nuts.
And then there's Aunt Elidora, who started the family tradition of beheading the house elves when they got too old to carry tea trays. Fun.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Crazy.
That's insane. Just they're too old to work. Kill them.
How long do you think house elves live? They feel like they're like,
Well, Kreacher
150
outlived
years or whatever.
her. Yeah, for sure. Ugh, that like makes me sick. Feel
Like
sick.
a turtle, like a tortoise.
I just, it's not obviously the point is that this family was like terrible. I understand that, but like this is so inhumane and terrifying. Like there wasn't like, it's not like a pet where you're trying to put them out of whatever pain they're experiencing, like a humane euthanization.
It's psycho.
Oh, that's terrible. And and then Kreacher is like, oh yeah, I'm serving this wonderful family that will eventually just cut my head off when like I'm too
I
frail
can't
to
wait
lift
for
a
the
tray.
day when I have the honor of being beheaded. What?
Unless he has that weird like, oh, not me type of mentality, like brainwashed. Oh, but they won't do that to me bullshit. I don't know.
I think he sees it as an honor though, because then you get you get to be a permanent fixture on the wall.
There's a lot of things that we've talked about that I've been like ick, but that one is that
It's
might
so
be the
gross.
worst.
And
Yeah.
honestly, the fact that the heads are still up, like that would have been the first thing I threw out.
Yeah. Are those attached to the wall? No one said anything about that.
I don't know.
I would like bury all of them. I'd be like, okay, this is what you deserved in the first place. Jesus. It's terrible.
So then we reveal that Tonks and Sirius are cousins.
Right.
So Tonks's mother, as we have discussed on this podcast, is Andromeda, who was Sirius's favorite cousin. Andromeda is the middle sister between Bellatrix and Narcissa. Andromeda is not on the tapestry anymore because she married a muggle named Ted Talks.
No, Muggle born, right?
Oh,
Was he just a
Muggle.
full-on
Oh, yeah,
Muggle?
Muggleborn.
Okay. TED Talks. You know.
We also know Narcissa because she is famously
Yeah.
Malfoy's mother.
Do you know what I want to ask? How do the three sisters in this family all have different hair color? Someone answer me this.
Oh,
Bellatrix
was
has
Andromeda?
black hair. Andromeda has like at least like dark brown hair. But then Narcissa is blonde?
A slay.
This does not add up. I'm
Listen,
sorry.
recessive genes, honey.
But all three of them? Narcissa's not really a blonde. That's my canon. But
Oh,
a
yeah.
blonde,
I
like,
don't
she
know though,
can't
because
actually
Draco
be.
is blonde. Draco is blonde.
But I think Lucius is actually very much blonde. So I'm guessing he could have just gotten it from him. I don't know. It's weird. I'm like, riddle me that.
Tom, riddle me that.
This is the thing I don't believe in this series, that these three sisters all have a different hair color.
Yeah, this is where I draw the line. So then this is like the realization Harry has where he's like, "You're related to the Malfoys?" And Sirius is like, "Yeah, there's like 5 wizard families. We're literally all related. This is why we had to
pretty
start.
much, yeah.
We were inbreeding." And then he also reveals that Molly and Sirius are cousins by marriage, and Arthur is his second cousin once removed.
Mm-hmm.
Harry's like, "Wait, I recognize Bellatrix because she was in book 4 in the memory in the pensieve."
Yeah, girl. Not for a good reason.
Famously a scene cut from the movie, but
Yeah.
we had a great interpretation of her
Yeah.
in our episode in book 4. So go listen to that.
Yeah.
But honestly, iconic. It's crazy that I would say probably like a top 10 most recognizable character in this series is debuts in this book. Like, I'm not really counting her in the pensieve as like her debut in this series because like it's kind of just a reference. But like this is like the first book where we actually like get Bellatrix, and it's not even it's like the end of the book, and
Yeah,
then like 6
pretty
and
much.
7 she's like there. But and I would say she's like iconic, and also it's probably because it's Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, that helps.
She's a slay. Girl boss, go off, queen.
Bellatrix, you slay.
I think I would feel very differently about Lord Voldemort if it was Bellatrix Voldemort. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was like she was running the whole operation. I'd be like, well, some points were made.
Bellatrix Voldemort?
Yeah. If the whole thing was like her story. If it wasn't Tom Marvolo Riddle being like,
I see.
I'm insecure about my parents.
Was the
the whole thing was Bellatrix. I'd be like, oh.
I actually am compelled by this villain.
He like is like, you never told me that Bellatrix was your cousin. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was a little. First up, Adam. He just met him. Has it even been 2 years? Not really. No. It's like a year and a half. You think while you guys were chatting at Hogsmeade when he was there for like 24 hours, he was going to be like, "Oh, and by the way, I have a cousin named Bellatrix." Like, I just when would you brought that up?
He hasn't even put together that Bellatrix is the one who like hurt. I mean, at least in this chapter, in this like recognition of the pensieve situation, Harry hasn't even put together that Bellatrix is the one that like ruined Neville Longbottom's parents.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not even that aspect of it. It's just like, you didn't even tell me that you were cousins with a person that I only know because I was in a memory one time. What? When would this have been brought up? It would be one thing to be like, you never
Yeah,
told
it's such
me
a weird thing to say.
that your mom was like a racist. That would be like, okay, yeah, I get that. It's another thing to be like, you never told me your cousin was this person.
You never told
What?
me your cousin was Bellatrix Lestrange. I'm sorry. You didn't even know. You just said, "Oh, Lestrange, that sounds familiar." That was all you said 1 second ago. And now I'm telling you a little more about her.
Yeah.
What?
Weird. And then so then he says that, and Sirius goes, "Does it matter if she's my cousin?" Snapped Sirius. "As far as I'm concerned, they're not my family. She's certainly not my family. I haven't seen her since I was your age, unless you count a glimpse of her coming into Azkaban. Do you think I'm proud of having relatives like her?" Again, like, not how an adult talks to a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like,
Yeah.
you just gotta work on it. And I get you didn't have a lot of time to work on your people skills in Azkaban, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
how it works. So just something to think about moving forward. Not much more time to move forward with that information, but yeah, just something to think about, Sirius. So anyway, so the houses, we find out from Sirius that the house is the perfect place for the order to be having their secret meetings, because obviously everyone has died except for Kreacher, and the house was unplottable because of a spell, a charm that
Yeah.
Sirius's father put on the house so that muggles would never be able to find it. Dumbledore also became the secret keeper of the house. People can only see the house if he tells them the information. So when Harry read the message 2 chapters ago, that was written by Dumbledore, so it counted.
Yeah, okay.
I can't even get into that because I just I can't.
Beats
So I'm
me.
not going to. But that's how it's that's how it works, and so that's why this place is perfect. And
That's why they're
obviously,
there.
Sirius feels a lot of feelings because he's like, I never expected to come back here. I totally understand. And also, just like anytime you go home, I don't have this obviously anymore because my mom does not live in the same home that I grew up
Right,
in
grew
or
up
was
in.
in
Mine
high
either.
school.
Yeah.
She was still in that house when I was home for 3 months during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say there was part of me that I was like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like you just start to feel like, I mean, luckily I wasn't in the same bedroom because then I
You were in
really
the
think
one
I would have been
across.
going through it. I was in the one across. But I was like, oh my God, you just start to like feel your high school feelings all over again to some degree. It's so weird. Like there would be times where I'd like snap at my mom because she would ask me to do something, and then I'd be like, I'm just reverting back to like how
Yeah.
we interacted back then, and I was trying not to do that. It was very weird. So I totally
There's
get that.
definitely an age where you like should not be in your, I don't know, back in your family. I'm saying this as Michael and I are going to stay with his parents. But like in terms of, I mean, we're staying there temporarily, but like just being in your family home, yeah, you can definitely feel some feelings. It won't be my family home, but I'll ask Michael how he feels when we're back there. It'll be new for me.
Yeah, it's true.
Whole new house.
So Sirius mentions that he wants to he wishes he had more to do. Obviously, he's very upset about it, but he's hoping that he's going to be allowed to accompany Harry as Snuffles
Mm-hmm.
to the Ministry as like a bit of moral support, which is very sweet. It's very good. It's a
That
very
is
sweet idea.
very sweet, but why would anyone say yes to that?
What dogs are like?
Yeah, none. That's what I'm saying. No one's gonna be like, "Oh yeah,
I feel like you'd cause Harry already draws attention to himself by being Harry
yeah."
Potter.
Well, it's
You
just
a
weird. They'd be
big
like, "Why
black
is that
dog
dog
walking
here?"
along with
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's weird.
Why does he have a dog with him?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be better if you just like wore an invisibility cloak? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be better.
So at the mention of the trial, Harry like suddenly gets very anxious again because he hasn't really thought about it since he got there, because he's like, "Ugh, I've just been surrounded by people I love and I'm enjoying my time." And I was like, "Have you been?"
Yeah. News to us. Really?
Doesn't seem like that's sweetie.
Yeah, I'm
Sweetie.
surprised. News to me.
News to us. He tells Sirius that if he's expelled, he wants to live at number 12 with Sirius. And Sirius doesn't say yes. But
Yeah, he
Harry's
doesn't really
made up
say
his
anything.
mind pretty
Yeah.
much. Harry's like, no, it's happening.
I'm going to move here. There's no way I'm going back there, okay?
Yeah. So then the rest of the chapter is very interesting. We get kind of like they continue cleaning, and then it kind of becomes like a cleaning montage over the next however many days,
Yeah, yikes.
until
That doesn't
Harry's
sound very fun.
thing. And there's a bunch of cursed items that are kind of like, I've said multiple times on this podcast, I really like when she does like when she puts in just random magical stuff as like filler, because it makes the world feel more real. I really like the one where Mundungus saves Ron from a purple robe that was going to strangle him. Also, the amount of dark items, like how did these people live lives? Like
I don't
everything
know.
they own is trying to attack them.
Are we supposed to think that these things have just like infested the house? Like that's what I was like, wait, so are these things purposefully here or
It's a great question. There was a
we'll never
musical
know
box
the
that
answer?
emitted a faintly sinister tinkling tune when wound, and they all found themselves becoming curiously weak and sleepy until Ginny had the sense to slam the lid shut.
Love that it's Ginny.
Love that it's
She's got like a sixth sense now with the like evil
Cursed
objects.
items,
It's great.
yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Sirius's grandfather was awarded Order of Merlin First Class from the Ministry of Magic, and Sirius is
Oh
like,
yeah.
he just gave them money. It means
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
This is
So
very
real.
funny. When Sirius wrestled a large golden ring bearing the black crest from his grip, Kreacher actually burst into furious tears and left the room sobbing under his breath and calling Sirius names Harry had never heard before. "It was my father's," said Sirius, throwing the ring into the sack. "Kreacher wasn't quite as devoted to him as to my mother, but I still caught him snogging a pair of my father's old trousers last week." What are we doing? For what? I hate this. I hate this so much. He was making out with trousers?
Yeah, I don't know. I
It's
don't
a
know
no
what to
from me.
say.
It's a no from me. It's a no from me. I just feel like there's other
I
ways we
don't
could have had it.
know.
I get she wants
Yeah.
to end it on a little funny button, but it's weird and it makes me really uncomfortable.
Why couldn't it have been like a tie or something? Why did it have to be his trousers?
Yeah.
Did you catch that they mentioned the locket though?
Is that the locket?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was. I clocked that it was a locket that wouldn't open, but I was like, I didn't remember if that was like she was the
That's
old girl.
the one. Yeah, it's the old girl.
Put that bee in your bonnet for later.
Maybe Dumbledore talks about it in the next one. I can't remember.
There's a bunch of things that happen, and none of it is really interesting because it's just kind of like things are continuously happening because they're trying to explain that time is progressing. And so finally comes to the day before Harry's trial. Molly says that she's ironed his best clothes for tomorrow so that it's ready to go, and that he should also wash his hair because a good first impression can work wonders.
Good luck.
Does Harry not wash his hair? I didn't like that she had to say that.
Apparently not.
I didn't like that.
Apparently he doesn't.
It's giving the
15-year-old greasy boy.
It's giving 15-year-old greasy boy, but it's also giving like that TikTok thing where like a bunch of people are finding out their like husbands and boyfriends like don't bathe with soap. Like they'll be like, I just rinse off. It's fine.
Oh my god.
Arthur's going to take him to work with him, so he'll just wait in Arthur's office while he waits for the trial, and then they'll go down or whatever. Molly informs him that Sirius, because from Dumbledore, that Sirius is not allowed to accompany Harry.
Yeah. Which, like, of course he isn't.
Yeah, it's obvious. Why would he go? Harry hears this and is like, well, when did Dumbledore tell you that? And they reveal that Dumbledore came last night while everyone was asleep and let them know.
Well, Harry was asleep specifically.
Well, Harry was asleep. And then Harry's like, and he didn't even ask to see me. And that was where the chapter ends. And I understand. I'm treating it lightly. I would also be like, this
Why
man
didn't
needs
he
to
even
talk to
say
me.
anything?
This
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
we need to have a conversation. This man cannot keep avoiding me. He's
Yeah.
avoiding me at this point.
Yeah, it is.
So I do get
very
it,
avoidant
but
behavior.
it's also very funny because it's a pattern of behavior with Harry Potter. Pattern of behavior. And that's it. That's the chapter.
Thank you, Adam. That was great. There was a lot of information in that chapter, so good job. Okay, that wraps up this chapter. Next week we'll be reading chapter 7, The Ministry of Magic. We're getting a new place. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and Spotify. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else you'll have to feed Buckbeak dead rats or clear out a bunch of doxies. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HBAnxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Anchor and recorded on Zencaster, so thank you to both of them. And we are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Ari.
And as always, what was it? What was it? Something truest. What was it? Do you remember what it was?
In this chapter? Was there one?
The motto of the Black family. I can't remember it
toujours
now.
pure.
Oh, that was what?
Vividibus chuvis. I like that better.
Okay. And as always, wait, I already forgot it.
Toujours pure.
Okay. And as always, toujours pure.
I'm leaving the whole thing in.
I know. That's fine.